Hello and welcome everyone, I'm Madals, and today I have got a pretty fun best of one game coming up. It is going to be between a Zerg and a Terran, and it is between a very special Zerg as well. Potentially, I think many would agree, the best Zerg player in the world, and it is definitely them. I know that for sure, but I'll explain it all once I've introduced them. So down in the bottom right position of Belshire, we have got the blue Zerg player from Team Startail. It is Life. And his opponent spawning up in the top left, the green Terran from the Lions tag. It is Traditional. Now, for anyone wondering, how do I know this is Life? Well, one, I would like to draw your attention to his current APM. It's about 330. That is the first indicator. Now, this account of STLife is in Gold League. It is an EU account, and I was privileged enough to be casting many of his games at DreamHack Summer. And at there, I saw this account, I've got it on my friends list, so I know it is definitely Life. It is not an imposter, it is not a fake. Also, it's another good clue as well, when you get someone with, like, the STLife tag who's in Gold League going up against a top Grandmasters player. That's usually a pretty good indicator that actually this is the real deal and it's not some kind of fake. But enough about justifying that this is definitely the right person and more about this game that is going on at hand. So as we can see, Barracks coming down, a reactor on its way for Traditional. That means that Reaper openings really quite possible here. Meanwhile, Life should be going for a 15 hatch, and there we go, right on the money. Literally perfect execution of this build so far, which I know sounds like a bit of a fluff thing to say when it's only the first building he's made, but still, getting it right on the money is always a really strong thing to be doing, so that is clearly a nice thing to see. We've got, of course, just the gas happily mining through the barracks, nearly finished up. In terms of later game strategies we could be seeing out of these two, well, drops, of course, quite good on Belshire. There's some dead space coming into the main that Traditional could try and execute. There's also this third, you can get nice drops coming in through here, with the rocks down at outside the third base as well. You've got quite a nice choke that you can try and engage within, but also for Life, lots of different attack paths, two entrances into the natural base easily. The wall at the natural is really quite wide too, which can make it awkward to try and defend that. The third base has got two entrances into it. Again, there's some rocks there which may come and play through, but we'll have to keep an eye out for all of that. But currently, we do just see the Traditional is getting out that Reaper. It's going to be making its way across the map, and this is just going to be really a bit of early scouting, a little bit of early poking and prodding. Generally speaking, you don't tend to actually see Reapers kill many drones, because even if they're going to get a drone kill, even if they can't get pulled back to safety, they just become an extractor or a spore crawler or something like that. And Zerg players, generally speaking, are very good at keeping and retaining those drones for as long as possible. And once Queens come out as well, Reapers really do get shut down quite hard. But interesting, we've got a second Reaper on its way out, as well as the command center now on its way. So just a very standard Reaper expand coming down from Traditional. Meanwhile, the Zerglings are just going to chase it down. And this is really the best you can hope for as a Terran player going for these Reapers, is that actually you kill a couple of Zerglings and force a few more out too, because that's really frustrating for a Zerg player. Every two Zerglings you force are obviously not going to be a drone early game, and that in itself can really lead to a lot of good stuff happening. But here we go, the Queen is out, two more are on their way down. The first Queen from the main base just waddling its way off the creek, trying to get through. The second Reaper, though, manages to make its way in, and it's going to go heading straight up for the main base, and there isn't actually anything defending here, but just as expected, Life instantly makes a spore crawler. One drone goes down, so already this being really quite effective compared to a normal bit of Reaper harass. These Zerglings just getting taken out very quickly. And now Life actually just being really quite frustrated by all of this. He's just happily dealing with it, though, still droning up behind it, getting a couple more Zerglings, and of course the four Queens are now going to be out in the field. One of those Reapers could go down here, it's going to be very close, does just manage to survive with just 9 health. Back at Traditional's base, though, he's getting up his second command center. Oh, look at this. Reactor factory plus an armory coming back down. Do you know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? That means we are going to be getting some Hellbats, and of course Hellbats are pretty good fun to see. Everyone likes a little bit of Hellbat drops. It could be potentially coming down here. Could just be a shove in. The Spore Crawler has been made, though, was allowed to finish, so that can just come and sit down the front and mean that any drops that could be coming down will get shut out a little bit harder. Also means any Widow Mines that may try and scuttle their way in will get shut down too, which is always a nice thing to see. But for the moment, these two Reapers, which did survive from the initial aggression, are going to be joining up with these Hellions. Now, actually, this is really quite solid, because if you've got the Hellions there with the Reapers, you can deal quite a lot of damage, and it can be really quite awkward trying to deal with those, but the Queens just spreading forward with the creep, just starting to generate that out. The third base is going to get taken here by Life once he's got those 300 minerals, but the Starport just finished up behind this for Traditional. The Rotron coming down here for Life too, so he's just trying to get ready to kind of hold off this sort of aggression. I don't know if he has seen it. He's going to see these Reapers coming back in again with the Overlords, which are spread really quite nicely. Look at this spread from Life with these Overlords. He's just got complete vision of anything that could be coming into his base from any angle, so really solid stuff there. The Reapers making their way back into the main base. They're going to try and pick off a couple of drones if possible, but a lot of Zerglings chasing it down. More importantly though, Traditional getting some really good scouting information. At the same time, Hellions running in, roasting a couple of drones here, and Life trying to pull them back as quickly as possible. 7 workers have been killed, 10 workers now. These Hellions doing a mighty amount of damage. Meanwhile, the Reapers are finally getting taken out, but in total 10 workers killed there by Traditional. He's going to be really happy with that. Life being forced to make 6 roaches in order to try and defend this, and all the while Medevac loaded up with 2 Hellbats, going to be making its way across the map, ready to try and harass into this third. But look at the Overlord spread, as I mentioned previously. There's just like no gaps in the vision. There's a tiny one there, which if the Medevac flew perfectly, he could get through, but it would be a near impossible thing to make. Other than that, every avenue of attack into StarTale life space and his side of the map is spotted and got full vision from these Overlords. We can see here that is that Medevac going to get spotted. The answer is just, but only at the last second, so this is where Life is going to have to make sure that he reacts to it well, using the Queen to focus down the Medevac as quickly as he can. The Hellbats are going to get dropped, and they're just going to try and roast the Queen out. Notice the positioning of them as well, to try and prevent the Queen's escape, and the Queen will now fall. Those 2 Hellbats getting in a good spot against the Zerglings. They do just stay up. One more hit would have killed them, but at the same time, Life now going for some counter aggression. The bunker is up, 2 Marauders are there, plus those 2 Hellbats are actually going to be fairly solid. That Medevac trying to get back to safety. The Queen is taking quite a bit of fire. The Zerglings now coming in, but of course Zerglings against Hellbats is not really a very good trade, so we can actually see that Traditional forcing about 200, just over 200 more resources lost, and at the same time, he's still pushing in with Hellbats into the main base. Life has only lost 10 workers, though, from that previous Reaper and Hellion play, so the Hellbat drops haven't actually killed any more workers yet, and with these roaches just sitting around, I'm not too concerned that Life shouldn't be able to hold off further aggression should he need to, but for the moment, Traditional, he should be fairly happy. Life is still slightly ahead in terms of the supply count, is getting his lair down, but this next follow-up push could be pretty difficult to deal with, because there's a good number of Marauders, a couple of Marines mixed in there too, and the Medevacs, so actually quite a strong force. And behind this, we've just got more barracks coming out, full macro mode really going ahead, and this third command center floating down, ready to go up to equal bases with Life. So Traditional really putting up quite a good display at the moment, and Life, while he is starting to go into a bit more of a macro-orientated situation where he's got the evolution chambers coming down, he's got the Rotron on the lair, he still hasn't reached kind of full macro mode yet. He's only at 60 drones, needs to get about another 10-15 out before he can really start pumping units effectively. So something to be keeping an eye on, but Zergling's Roach is getting pulled back here, ready to try and deal with this push. Of course, the Overlords scouting most of it coming down. One Medevac has now loaded up with those Hellbats. Hopefully Traditionals realise that though, because they could be really useful in this fight, but for the moment the Marauder's dealing some good damage to those Roaches, and as we can see now, he is going to try and force those back. The Marauder's still dealing very well. The Hellbats are doing some nice damage to some drones there, but the Roaches just forcing them back for the time being. The Marauders stutter stepping all the way. Stim, of course, is researched for them, and with the Medevac support, they're dealing actually quite nicely. Only though, a couple of units killed. No additional drones were actually taken out there. One Overlord just getting picked away up by a single lone Marine. But of course Traditional wants to be quite careful not to lose any more infantry from, say, big speedling floods such as this from Life. Ready to move in. Creep getting forced back. Widowmine is going to burrow up. Can it get a good shot off? Well, it may be able to. It depends whether these Zerglings are careful, but they are going to be very secure when one Zergling sacrificed there for the greater good. Another Widowmine is burrowed up, but is still on cooldown. So for the moment, Life's safe. And Life also, I think, hasn't actually scouted out this third base. So because he doesn't know about that, he isn't able to just go for a big Zergling run by, but he is able to get down his Spire, and also the Baneling Nest nearly complete too. With a macro hatch, and now up to sort of the 64 drone mark, he's quite comfortably just pumping out units, getting himself all of the tech he needs, and with this kind of really heavy Marauder Hellbat style, it means the Marine count isn't particularly high, but Traditional, with so many barracks behind this, is able to really climb that up, so that when Mutalisks do hit the field, he should have a decent amount of anti-air available to him, ready to try and help some of this out. A single Speedling is going to go and check the usual third base location. See, it's not down, and this could actually throw Life off slightly if he's not really aware of what is down at this side of the map, because he comes in here and sees no third, he might think, okay, I've got to really be prepared for a big 2-base shove. And since he still doesn't actually know about this base, it could cause him a little bit of problems unless he scouts it soon. But now running in with a lot of speedlings, and the Marines running towards the planet orbital command may give it away. And there we go, we see suddenly the Zerglings have managed to find their way through. Traditional is being forced to pull everything back. There's me forgetting to turn myself on busy, but still, these Zerglings are doing so much damage. They're going to start pushing through here. Good Widowmine hit goes off there, but reinforcements just getting picked off so quickly is incredibly frustrating. The +1 carapace is done. +1 melee attack is still 10 in-game seconds away from completion. But just Traditional, he's making sure he spreads himself out. He gets a good number of Widowmines all across the map, and still Life is coming in with the pressure. More Zerglings here. The Baneling nest is of course done, but he's not morphing in the Banelings. He's just going to go for the Speedling run by. There's a couple of supply depots trying to go down. The bunker getting surrounded. Only a single Marine in there. More reinforcements getting taken out. The bunker will fall. A Widowmine hit did go off somewhere there, but all the while Traditional is pushing in towards the third. Baneling's going to need to get some good connections. We see the Roaches trying to sit there, trying to snipe off those Widowmines as quickly as possible. The Banelings have been taken out really quite effectively, allowing these Marines and Marauders to decimate those Roaches. All the while, though, the main base of Traditional is getting sieged by just so many Speedlings and SCVs actually going head up against these Zerglings at the moment. But the third has fallen of Life. Traditional putting up a really good fight. He is actually ahead in supply for the time being, and is doing a really good job of this, just pumping more and more units as quickly as he can. There's another Widowmine just sitting around, but the Mutalisks are starting to get higher in number. We can see 12 of them out. 31 Marines, though, are down the field. They got 1-1 upgrades. So, though, are the 1-1 melee upgrades done for Life. No air upgrades coming down, but 2-2 is very near completion for the Terran player, and once that comes in, these Mutalisks are not going to be able to trade very well, especially in head-up fights against these Marines and Widowmines. Something to be very cautious about. Life, though, he can go real harassment heavy. Only a single missile charge defending the third base at the moment, and with this many Mutalisks, if he focuses it down and Traditional doesn't repair it ASAP, it could be pretty bad. But now this fourth, that is now actually the third mining base of Life, is getting attacked, and if it goes down, that could be a big problem. But Life now streaming in so many units there. Good Widowmine placement is going to force back these Mutalisks for the moment. The Banelings have all been depleted, and now the fourth base of Life taking a large amount of damage here. But with reinforcements coming in, he should be able now to hold this. Of course, this is essential to Life staying in this game. If this went down, he would be so starved of resources that things could be very problematic. Where is the Overseers? Here they are. They're morphing just behind the army, ready to start picking off these Widowmines, which is always such a dangerous thing, because these Mutalisks, if they clump up, could get taken down very quickly. But the supplies exactly equal for these two players, which is always a cool thing to see. And now, Life, he is going to start pushing back. He's going to try and move away all of these Widowmines. Drilling Claws is not researched, so they take a while to burrow, but once they do get burrowed, those hits can still be absolutely massive. More Banelings are morphing in, more units streaming across the map. Just so many Marines and Widowmines on their way across. It's just a constant train of green ready to go. Life, he's trying to get himself into a bit more of a comfortable spot, trying to just get that macro lead that he needs. He's up to 69 workers. His fourth base at his third is now done, but in comes another engagement. The Widowmines are all buried in a relatively good spot. Some good hits going off. All the Banelings dealt with very quickly. The Mutalisk count up at 19, engaging these Marines head on, but the Widowmines are going to be the real big threat. Only one medevac is remaining. That means that these Marines have to be so cautious. A couple of Zerglings trying to go off on these Widowmines, but the Widowmines just detonating one at a time. Life's control with his Speedlings is absolutely brilliant, and he's now going to break this push and really go back up against Traditional, who's only got a handful of Marines remaining. He does have his fourth base in construction, though, and that could really give him a nice little position. And Widowmine's still sitting here down by the fourth. No drones transferred yet. The first ones are just on their way over now, but will Traditional go over there and try and put an end to it? He very well may. He's got a good number of units here. He's trying to attack Life from all directions, so Life cannot get up a good defense. Constant pressure, just trying to make sure that that critical mass of Zerg units never gets reached. But the Mutaflock has slowly been growing throughout this game. 23 down on the field now. They are just going to be picking off reinforcements as they come in, but the fourth base now taking a good amount of damage from a lot of Marines here. Overlord's getting sniped off, but Life, he is just going for it. He's got so many Zerglings, so many Mutalisks, and a couple of Banelings coming in too. He is just going straight for the kill now, but at the same time, he's going to lose his fourth base. All the Marines so far committed, though, are not going to be able to get back to defend this. That means reinforcements have got to try and fight head on. 2-2 Marines up against Mutalisks is a relatively good trade, but the Zerglings just swinging it in the Mutalisks' favor. And now it is just, will Life be able able to hold off this push? Will he be able to deal the catastrophic damage he needs in time? Will he be able to pick off the reinforcements to slowly whittle down the attacking force from Traditional? Well, so many workers have now been killed by Life. He's killed 38 already. He's just destroying all of them in all lines, trying to pick off as much production as he can, and Traditional knowing that he's not going to be able to defend against that next wave. GG's out. But wow, I've got to give credit to Traditional there. He put up such a good game against Life, who, of course, as I mentioned, is arguably the best Zerg player in the world. And, well, just really impressive play by Traditional there. So I hope you all enjoyed this game. If you did, make sure you like the video, leave it a cool comment, and of course subscribe. I get new games up daily, so I'll catch each and every one of you tomorrow for yet another new cast. I'm Madals, thanks for watching, bye for now.